Hi, I'm Carey Sue Vega. Welcome. I'm the director for the National League of Junior Cotillions here in Oklahoma City, and I work with students 5th grade through high school as well as adults, teaching manners, etiquette, and social skills. When you sit down to a formal dinner, it never fails. There's usually 10 or 12 people squeezed into a table that only 8 or 10 should be at. So let's talk about your place setting and trying to figure out what is yours and what's your neighbor's. Here it's pretty easy because it's defined by the placemat and what's in your space. But you start at home plate, your plate obviously. To the right is your knife, your dinner knife, and the sharp cutting edge of the knife always points towards you. Don't ever point your knife at your neighbor. Always keep it pointed towards you. And then to the right of that is your spoon. And to the left you have 2 forks. At least today we do. Depending on your service you may have more than that. But an easy way to remember the forks versus the knife and spoon, which side they go on, is there's 5 letters in the word right. There's 5 letters in knife and 5 letters in spoon. So all the 5-letter words go to the right. And then to the left, your forks. 4 letters in the word fork, 4 letters in the word left. So that's easy to remember right there. And then up to the top of your forks you have your bread and butter plate with your bread and butter knife. And to the top of your knife is your drink. And then, do y'all know this trick? What is this? Who can tell us?
It would be C and the D, bread, drink. And so you know which one's on which side. And which one's yours?
Exactly, so you don't pick up the wrong person's drink or another thing. Or you could also remember BMW for bread, meal, water. And then at the top of the plate is your dessert utensil. And today we have these funny looking sporks, but if you had a spoon, it needs to face so that when you pull it down, it's ready to go. So if you had a regular spoon up at the top, you would pull it down and it's in its ready position. If you had a dessert fork, it would be facing as such, so when you pulled it down, it would be in its ready position also. And then today we have individual little salt and pepper shakers in front of you, but quite often you don't have individual salt and pepper shakers. And so when you sit down, kind of take inventory and see what's in front of you and see if there's something that needs to be passed. Even you may not want the salt and pepper, but your neighbors probably do. Same thing with the bread or the sweetener or the lemons or whatever the case may be. Look for it and pass it. Pass it to the right. Always pass it to the right the first time. And then for seconds, if, for example, the salt and pepper were over here in front of Nathan and Rit wanted the salt and pepper, we wouldn't have to go, hold on, let's pass it all the way around the table. You could just do the most direct route possible and we could get it to Rit, and that would be for seconds.
Action.
One of the things that's really benefited me from taking Mrs. Vega's cotillion class is I've become a lot more comfortable talking to complete strangers. She's taught me how to strike up a conversation and just keep it flowing to make both people more comfortable. I used to be really shy, so this has helped me a lot.
Attending Mrs. Vega's cotillion, I have learned how to. It taught me how to be respectful towards elders and other students and people like me, and to strike conversations. It's also taught me how to use all of the silverware and eat with spaghetti and chicken on the bone. Really difficult items of food to eat. Things like that.
So the differences in dining that you may see would be American style or continental style. And American style is how the majority of us are used to eating here in the States. It's how most of us are raised. And that means when you pick up your utensils and you cut your food, you set your knife down on your plate and you transfer your fork to your right hand. And if you're anywhere near my grandmother, your left hand better be in your lap while you're eating. And then you go to cut your food and do the same thing over and over again. But continental style, European style, you hold your fork in your left hand and your knife in your right hand, and you cut the item that's going to go to your mouth and you transfer it directly to your mouth. And your wrists can rest on the table. You always want to leave your hands above the table, European style. You get a little nervous when your hands go below the table, so hands above the table. And then resting position would be in an upside down V if you were to pick up your bread and butter your bread one bite at a time. And then you could pick your utensils back up and start eating. So let's practice. If you want to pick up your utensils and hold in continental style, your fork in your left hand, kind of as an extension of your pointer finger, and your knife in your right hand, same thing, extension of your pointer finger on the right hand side. And you cut that piece, don't turn it upside down and try and get it in like this, just tines down straight to your mouth. So the holidays are fast approaching, and we're going to be having family dinners, extended family that you may not see very often, maybe only once a year, other family members that you see on a regular basis. And what do you talk about at the table? What are some things that you can have some polite conversation about to make everyone feel comfortable and keep people involved and keep the flow of conversation going? Any suggestions?
The weather.
The weather. The weather outside is frightful.
The air is so delightful.
You could talk about school.
School, you can talk about school, especially if you have cousins that are your age. You can ask them what they're studying. You all are, fast approaching college. Maybe ask them where they're headed to university and get some feedback. I'm sure your family has plenty of suggestions on where they want you to go to school. But
you could always ask them how their life is back at their home, because if it's an extended family, then you don't see them very often.
Exactly what they've been up to lately.
Also sports. I mean, it's Oklahoma. We love football, so.
Very true. Very true.
Talk about football.
And hopefully everyone's on the same page with their likes. Otherwise, it might get rather spirited.
Being in Mrs. Vega's cotillion class has helped me a lot because it has put me through a lot of really good experiences, and I've learned a lot. The dancing has helped a lot too, because now I feel more confident if I go to like a wedding or something, or if I go to a ball or whatever the case may be, I can dance, confidently, and I know what I'm doing. And also, I've assisted. I got the opportunity to assist for the past 3 years, and I've been able to work with a lot of kids and help them. So it's been really great.
We obviously know what to talk about. What do we need to steer clear from at the table for the holidays or for any time when you're having dinner with someone?
Anything that's gross. If they're eating, you don't want to freak them out. Or,
Don't want to lose their appetite.
Yeah. Or if you don't know them very well, they'll probably think you're weird.
You don't want to talk about politics either, because people have different views, and you could get into a very heated debate about like the president or the governor or someone like that.
Exactly. Even with your own family, everyone in the same family doesn't necessarily share the same political views. So yes, it could make for a very awkward and uncomfortable situation.
You also don't want to talk about like religious views or start debating about that either, because it's a lot like politics and get tempers risen.
Exactly.
If you don't like the food, it's something that you don't express.
It was a very interesting flavor.
Yeah.
I know you spent a very long time in the kitchen preparing this. Thank you so much.
Thanksgiving. If it's bad, then same thing.
You still want to give
Keep it to
thanks.
yourself.
Yeah. So when it comes to polite conversation and trying to keep everyone engaged at the table, it never fails. I think everyone has that one relative that they may have had a few too many adult beverages, or they may just be like that without adult beverages, whatever the case may be, to kind of help wrangle the conversation, if you will. One great idea is to do assigned seating. If you do assigned seating, then you have control over where people are placed. And if you and a sibling understand that one relative and their special perk or whatever it is that they're gifted with, then you and that sibling can maybe try and help wrangle them in a little bit. And then also, by on the assigned seating on the place cards, you can assign some questions, or maybe pass questions around in a bowl, and that gives you an opportunity to control the conversation, if you will. If that one relative that is a little more fired up than the rest, then you can say, we're on to Lainey, it's her turn to talk. And I think that that's a good way to be able to keep the conversation flowing and keep that one relative in check a little bit.
Talk a little bit about, what would some examples of the questions be? Would each person have a question that's directed toward them? Like if you say, okay, let's go to Lainey, would she read her question and then she would answer that question?
The questions can be a variety of things. They can either be directed to people and their lives, or they can be random. They can be, tell us about a fond childhood memory that you have, or tell us about the first house that you lived in, tell us about your first Christmas, what was your most memorable birthday, what was the first memory that you had from a grade school teacher. And that kind of gets people thinking historically, and within my family we've actually found out some great stories that we haven't heard before from different family members posing some of those questions. And you hear a lot of the same stories over and over, so by throwing some of those questions out there, it gets people thinking and they start remembering different things.